Day, 2022. I've made a couple of videos today. Yesterday I went out, Lynn took me out to Tanger Outlets. Again, I heard on it's actually out but where the hospital is that we went to go visit, and she stopped to get me new shoes. Now, I heard on the TV, I don't think it was directed at me, but people were like, it's more than sales and all this other stuff. Just so we're clear, because I don't want to, like, whatever. This is what the bottom of my shoes look like. I literally have worn away by the heel and right over here, and up here. That's how long I wear the shoes, and that's how impactful the local area is to walk. These shoes are not that old. This wear and tear should not be wearing this way. But this is how the kinesthetic body movement is in the area. The other interesting thing is, back by where the calcaneus is, right where they call it the Achilles tendon, it has, right where my finger is here, it totally lost its foam as I walked. I mean, it's just how, and again, this isn't like a manufacturing issue. It's not against the country that manufactured them or whatever they're saying is the country, whoever's getting credit for it necessarily. It's just how walking on the streets outside in this area, something's wrong with the magnetic poles. It just is, between the electrolytes and the outside, and then the physicality. Here's another one. Again, right on this center is a problem, and up by the heel. This one did not wear the same as the other one. The other one, the whole part was gray. But again, on the inside, by where is it? Just where the foot is supposed to go in, it wore away. So I literally needed new sneakers, because there's no, my sneakers are falling apart, because I wear sneakers one at a time. I don't have like 15 pairs of sneakers. I know in this day and age that's like unheard of. So that happened. Also, on my way to see this movie tonight, with my son, the little one. First of all, I know the chair, the seat that I sat in. I sat in row B8. And there was a stranger sitting next to me in B7. So anyhow, whatever that meant, I don't know. But I was there with my father and my son, my youngest son. So that's that. But on our way to see the movie, I heard on the radio, because we weren't there like right on, like by the time I got the baby out of the house, whatever, I was on surprise party time. And so when on the way there was an announcement on the radio. It sounded like Mayor Adams. And he made a message, a statement, which I've been looking. I taped 12 o'clock, I taped GMA, I taped 4, 5, and 6 o'clock news. I even taped the World News Tonight on Channel 7. They made no mention of him saying this, but on the radio, on Lewis's radio, so I don't know what station it was, he was very clear to say, this isn't French, this isn't Polish, this isn't something else. He says, this is an American dream. And I'm like, right. I am not enjoying this American dream like some of the other dreamboats. I mean, like toes in the water and all, it's just hasn't really panned out well for my person or my seedlings whatsoever thus far. But here's how they handled some of the other and what they did mention that he said.
Ceremony today at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum on Manhattan's West Side. New York Governor Hochul, New York Mayor Adams, as well as current and former members of the military, honoring those who served the country and sacrificed their lives. The service included the unfurling of a 100-foot American flag, the laying of 4 wreaths, and an aircraft flyover in the missing man formation.
Our young people don't know the rich history of the men and women who allow us to sit under the tree of freedom because they watered that tree with their blood.
We honor those who are...
Interestingly enough, this part of the we would have had his part of the we or whatever not specifically made sure I didn't get in or near the State Department that I desperately needed in this area. So, a block from entry being a block of entry, and I don't know how to get around that block of entry. It's been a real problem.
Because they all step up with the expectation and their family's expectation they'll come back home. But today we reflect on those who didn't.
Ceremony today held on the last day of Fleet Week, which returned after a pandemic hiatus.
President Biden laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. First Lady Kamala Harris and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin were also there. The president says the honor and dedication of our war dead cannot be overstated.
Above all, they believed in duty. They believed in honor. They believed in their country. And still today, we are free because they were brave.
Well, the president also spoke about his son, Bo, a war veteran who died of cancer 7 years ago today.
In Westchester County, Chappaqua annual Memorial Day Parade returning after a 2-year break because of the pandemic, with the hamlet's most famous residents taking the lead. Yep, there they were, the Clintons. Former President Bill Clinton, his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary, marched through the streets, followed by dozens of veterans. The parade route lined with residents who say they are grateful to the men and women of the armed forces who sacrificed their lives.
I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful for all the people who serve us, made it possible for us to be here.
We want to thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we can't thank you enough.
Mr. Clinton with an arm around our Eyewitness News anchor, Joe Torres. The Clintons have participated, by the way, in the Chappaqua Memorial Day Parade more than 18 annual times.
Well, the Little Neck Douglaston Memorial Day Parade is one of the oldest in the nation. This year, it's back after being canceled the last 2 years because of the pandemic, and with the primary for...
I did not go to celebrate the politicians today. I thought it best to go celebrate it for my seedlings and to get answers for myself with watching Tom Cruise in Maverick and the Top Gun, which are the answers I need. I see here Loretta James was there, Kathy Hochul was there, Mayor Adams showed up. Again, so they were in Little Neck. I stayed away. I stayed in Bayside.
For several state offices, just a little bit more than a month away, the leading candidates were out campaigning. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Sandra Bowman.
They're as American as baseball and apple pie. The small town holiday parade.
And now that I'm looking at it, I don't know where America went, because this is only one town over from where, I mean, we share a parkway between Little Neck Parkway, but not a parkway like Northern State Parkway. I mean, it's a parade route kind of a parkway where you walk, like Northern Boulevard kind of a thing. And I don't know whose countrymen these are, but these are not the countrymen. Like if you go out to Montauk or if you go up to Chappaqua, their Memorial Day display and pageantry looks very North American. And this localized whatever's going on in my local area, it no longer looks North American. Now, in that Top Gun movie, there were hand signs. I mean, there were call signs in there also. I saw Nick's made it in. But I also noticed that they did some hand signs in there, and that was interesting.
Annual Little Neck Douglaston Memorial Day Parade has been honoring those who died in service to the country for 90 years. And it's back after a 2-year hiatus due to COVID. Feels good to be out.
And I mean, like, again, it just doesn't sit with me. It's like, okay, so let me get this straight. So if I have a North American family member, looks like me, and they went over to somewhere that looks nothing like me, and they fought and they lost friends, family members, and whatever, and then they came home to North America, and then somehow the war from there followed them home, and they started moving in or started like gathering on these lands. How is that not, like, I mean, are there laws again? I mean, like, I know there are lawmen somewhere, and they do this for a living, and they're very good at what they do. I'm just not clear, looking at the teleprompter, what happened. Because I know over here in the unrest in the American colonies, they said there was a Vietnam War again. I didn't go. I didn't see it. They said there was a Korean War again. I didn't go. I didn't see it. But I know that there are veterans that did. And so it gets really sloppy and confusing when then I see their seedlings marching, and then there's no more of the guys that went over to fight the war, so that the war didn't follow them back home.
No longer locked in our houses with our masks on.
It's just nice to enjoy the weather and like going back to normal.
Along with the flags, the cheering crowd, and marching bands comes the smiling politician.
And like, that's, again, not saying one is or isn't a grandfather, but on the guise of if somebody fought in the Korean War and then the Korean War somehow quietly followed him back to the homeland, and then he dies, even if he dies on the homeland, does that still mean that my son now is a gold star or a blue star, one of those stars? Just curious, because again, I don't want to take paternity for granted here, but I also don't want to be jammed up, or he to be jammed up for things that I'm not really, nothing looks as it should.
USA! 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 The chance to meet and greet prospective voters too good to pass up, especially during an election year. The New York gubernatorial primary is just a month away.
Talk about what we've been successful at delivering for New Yorkers with our budget.
I'm listening to her words. Success is not the first word that comes out of my mouth. The education system was broken. It worked for a little while out in Suffolk County where they held me safe and secure, and for that I'm very grateful. But there was no pathway to success. There was no pathway to a marriage. There was no success here. Maybe they can strive for that in the future and build that into their campaigns, but at this point,
My partners in Albany have been phenomenal in terms of making sure we have resources for communities like this, giving people relief from the high cost of living, understanding the needs of everyday New Yorkers, and take.
Right, maybe for their people. But just so Kathy's aware, someone closer, her people, they didn't offer me jobs that I could get out of working poverty. There was no home ownership, like that wasn't taken. It was a real problem.
Taken into the streets.
Governor Kathy Hochul among those working the crowd today, along with many other local elected leaders.
I want to salute all of.
And again, they keep saying these elected leaders like as if there was no elections here. I did not elect this woman. I have no idea how she got in. I don't even know what their election process is. I know once every 4 years they allow us to go somewhere and pretend we're electing someone who was already chosen at some point and put on the television as a choice. And there's only two. One that wears red and goes with a Republican, and one that wears the blue and goes as a Democrat before the people. But what they run on, how they got funded, nobody has. I have no clue. And the schools aren't telling us either.
Defending my rights and your rights and the rights of New Yorkers and Americans as a whole.
Most mindful of what the sacrifices of the nation's war dead say about the spirit of America.
We go through rough moments, but it is clear that we are resilient.
In Little Neck, Queens, Sandra Bookman, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And there's that word again, resilient. You mean we are resilient? Because that's how you spell it, if you pronounce it properly. In like not a fancy way, like toot sweet. No, it's R-E, and then it's silent. Just so it gets sounded off properly, with toes in the water and whatever. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. Oh, and I found something else. They mentioned Golden Knights. I had no idea that they even existed, but they are they wear the color schematic in their, I don't know what to call it when they're jumping from airplanes. That cargo suit, I suppose. It's a jumpy, it's not a flight deck suit. Although I see it on the flight decks. Whatever it is. They had the same color as the bear jacket on the Hofstra campus that I wore. But they call themselves Golden Knights. I'm like, I've never even heard of that before. One of the news reporters did something with them. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.